Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Food Ingredients North America Theater. We're so happy you're here. We have some great content. Our topic today is how to build a great tasting functional beverage. Here's some show announcements for you if you want to take a peek at that. We want to thank our underwriter for this session, which is Swegan, and make special note about the What's Up with Sups party, which is tonight from 5 to 11. I want to introduce you to our speakers today. We have Alan Roberts from Nutrition Innovation, Susie Bottaraco, President of Culinary Tides, and Harold Hahn, co-founder of Vertosa. Thank you.
There we go. Thank you. All right. Okay, everybody can hear me. We just got to get going. Okay, first up. So, by the way, happy to give our slides away. So the first slide and our last slide has a QR code. If you want to scan it, we're going to give you our slides. We're also going to give you a sneak peek at our 23-24 Trends Forecast Report for free. So there'll be a QR at the end too if you miss it right now. Let's get started. Thank you. Okay, so our background is we're actually a private forecasting think tank for our clients individually. So we're not a big data house. We actually lock in with our clients year in and year out. We speak with them weekly. The background of the work is actually military intelligence and chaos theory. So we sit on a different part of the playground. So instead of tracking serial killers, now I track cereal bars because I come from military intelligence. So the analytics you're going to see are actually military, not normal business analytics. So we have only a few minutes, so we're going to have only a few slides. So the number one driver in health right now is not obesity, it is not immune function, it is not digestion, it is cognitive function is the number one. Obesity is on the ticket. Cognitive function, sleep, stress, I just said that, sleep, stress, anxiety, depression, anxiety, all of these are on the board because of the financial situation we find ourselves in, the wars that are going on overseas, the housing situation going on. So that's what's bringing up cognitive function as the main driver. So when we talk about cognitive, like I said, it splits out into all these different drivers. So to get ahead of a trend, you have to know the driver. You can't just watch consumers. Consumers can only tell you what they did yesterday, and you cannot survey them on something they're not aware of yet. So to get out ahead of them and be able to drive and steer and navigate the trend, you need to know what some of the drivers are. So when we're looking at functional drivers, it splits out into several branches. So since we only have a few slides, we wanted to make sure we gave you every focus we could. But you can see it deals with some of the drivers around obesity, immune function, cognitive function is one of the biggest branches. But then again, just overall health, what are some of the drivers that consumers are looking for to aid their health, their kids' health, keep their family going? And these are actually slides that actually come from the report that we're going to give you some giveaways for. So if we keep going, are you dealing with sports nutrition with your ingredients? Are you dealing with digestion instead? What about some of the sexual health, which actually is bleeding into the travel trends, it's bleeding into other trends, not just health? Pain management is another one. So all of these are ingredients and which then become drivers that consumers are aware of and actively looking for. I want to touch on alcohol versus non-alcohol because alcohol is now, the companies are actually going non-alcohol, right? Non-alcohol beer, non-alcohol wines, and they're putting functional ingredients into alcohol. So if you deal with non-alcohol, your biggest competitor is not another non-alcohol company. Your biggest competitor is alcohol. And same for alcohol. Their biggest competitor is non-alcohol as a category. So what are the patterns with alcohol? Right now, overall consumption is down, and this is because our fear level coming out of a pandemic is set much higher now, right? So it takes a lot more to freak us out and make us all panic. So normally right now, we should all be drinking a whole lot more. We aren't. So alcohol consumption is still low compared to what it should be. Premium spirits are up, so when we are drinking, we're drinking the good stuff, right? We're drinking complex cocktails, regional beers are up, regional varietal ciders are up. So when we are drinking, we're drinking premium. And ready-to-drink cocktails are very high right now, and they're actually led by the white spirits, rum, tequila, and this is because Gen Z and millennials tend towards white. Gen X can go either way. Boomers tend to be dark spirits. What's going on in non-alcohol is overall consumption is up, which again, it should not be, but it is because of that fear point. But nobody's drinking water. Fascinating, water sales are all down. Right? So when they're looking for non-alcohol, they're looking for functional. They're looking for what is the added benefit. It could be a health benefit. It could be a psychological benefit. So if you combine a functional health beverage that has whatever it is, folate, some of the B vitamins, whatever, ashwagandha, whatever it is, but also make the flavor something fabulous from the Caribbean, now you have an emotional escape too. I can love my little functional drink and I have a Caribbean escape in my mind just for 2 minutes. Get away from coworkers, the kids, etc. So you want to layer trends. Energy beverages also are high. Again, cognitive function. How do I start the day? How do I get through the day? How do I focus? How do I get from work and still be able to, be functional around the kids at night? What would reverse these patterns? There's only two things that reverse them. The first one would be for us to actually go into a full-blown economic recovery and have all the wars calm down. The other thing that would reverse this is actually if we go into a recession. We will start drinking more. All of these patterns will reverse themselves. Those are the two things you have to watch for to see if these patterns flip. And again, thank you so much. I open it to the other speakers. And again, if you want a copy of the slides and the free sample of the trends report, afterwards give me your card or you can scan the code and we're happy to share those slides with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks for showing up. Today we'll be talking about beverage ingredient criteria. I call them the 8 C's. Let's see, here we go. So the first one is clinical, second is claims, and categories. So clinicals is what science supports the claims, and then the categories, like what health categories are those clinicals in, so mood, energy, so on. And then I always look at mechanisms of action, so how is that ingredient working, and are there other ingredients that I can pair with it that will add some synergy to it, or 1 + 1 = 3. And then the other thing, cost and dose, the idea is if it's too high in cost, the ingredient cost per dose, then you have a single ingredient formula. And so from a consumer standpoint, there's not as much complexity and you're almost like in a commodity type ingredient or formula. So if you have a low cost and a small inclusion amount in that formula, it's not taking up grams and it's more in the milligrams, then you're able to do more complex formulations because you have more room. And that's also very important in the compatibility slide, where if it's something that's small, then it can go into multiple form factors, which is great for marketing. So you can be in a ready to drink, a ready to mix, and a capsule if it works for everyone. And so that's kind of like a unicorn in a sense. All these make up a unicorn, these different parts. The sensory is also very important because ideally you want it to taste like nothing. So when it comes to beverage development, it's just a piece of cake. No off notes. Taste is minimal impact. Odor and color hopefully is clear. Some actives give off a color. Like saffron, for example, might be yellow. Astaxanthin might be red. So you try and pair the colors with flavors, so you don't have the need for natural colors. Let's see. The other important C, which is the most boring one, is compliance. But very important because that dictates where the product's going to be. If the ingredient's an ODI or NDI, that's a dietary supplement. If you're self-GRAS or FDA GRAS, then you can be in food and beverage. And then also in dietary supplement as well on the GRAS side. The other important part when working with IP ingredients is, hopefully they have co-branding and IP and trademark and license agreements so you can leverage their IP and claims on your packaging, your website. And then hopefully it's a cyclical thing because the consumer's looking for that patented ingredient and then they're out looking for it. And also the ingredient supplier can put their ingredient where you can find their ingredient in a finished product so people then can go find the brands that ingredient's in. So that covers the 8 C's. Any questions? Okay. So this is, and the other thing, hopefully Center has been kind enough to do corkage for the ready-to-drink beverage that I developed for them. And we use this process in creating the beverage, starting off with a project brief. And this beverage got 2 Nexty finalist awards at Expo West and Expo East, utilizing the unicorn ingredient criteria and then this process. So I start off with a project brief with brands, and it provides like a starting point of the key product attributes, like is the product natural or does it have synthetic ingredients? Does it have, what kind of certifications are you looking for? And then also claims and categories. The other thing I do is ingredient discovery. So I go, if it's like a mood, for example, I'll look at 10 to 15 different ingredients with a brand and look at mechanisms of action, cost per serving, claims, and regulatory. And then that kind of gives them an idea of the different types of ingredients that are available. And then based off of feedback, likes or dislikes, then it can go to raw material supplier introductions, to where the supplier is doing ingredient presentations, talks about marketing support, regulatory, dosage, all those great things that you can uncover additional information from the ingredient suppliers. Let's see what else. Okay, and then we go into the formulation and prototype. So once we've identified the ingredients, I do ingredient screening. So basically taking the ingredients at those doses and basically dropping them in water or apple juice to get an idea of what flavor impact, any color. And so that starts building the base of ingredients that we're selecting from. And then the other important point is looking at a competitor landscape. So once you've developed your base ingredients, you can then go look out what's in the marketplace and then, you know, categorize things based on form factor, SRP, the functional ingredients in it, the macros, and the other ingredients. So then you can look at a broad view to see what gaps are in your product or areas that you can expose that no one's looking at the moment. Let's see there. And then the other part is just basically creating the blends of the actives and then either flavor them in-house or working with a flavor house and developing prototypes. And so once you have your prototypes and your cost of goods, because you know your ingredient suppliers and the amounts that you're using and the cost per kilo, then you basically have a working foundation of, you know, so the starting point, and then also knowing all your packaging component costs and then working with the co-mans and getting an idea of what they're going to charge you. So, let's see. I think that's pretty much it. I think I'd like to open it up to any questions if you have any. Did the beverage show up? Okay, thanks.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me? Can you hear? Okay, cool. I'm Harold. I'm from Vertosa. I'm the founder and chief scientist officer at Vertosa. So I'm an emotion chemist. Emotion is my whole training. And Vertosa, what do? We produce cannabis emulsions. So we infuse cannabis beverages, cannabis gummies. Our products are something like this. Right? Imagine you have a big tank of the beverages base. You buy this and put that into the base. You have a cannabis infused beverages. So, you know, people ask me, what is the difference between a Coca-Cola syrup and a cannabis emulsion? I say Coca-Cola pay a lot of attention on sensory, stability, manufacturability to be scalable, right, repeatable. But an important thing for this ingredient is, you know, we have to ensure the sensory stability and scalability. But the key of cannabis emotion is give a feeling, effect to people, right? People can feel it. We want people to feel it in 5 to 10 minutes, just like sipping on a beer. So, and then the more research we have put into for the last 5 years at Vertosa, we start to realize, there's a spider web, like sensory, stability, manufacturability, and effect. We will change one single component within the emotion, such as carrier oil, emulsifier type, emulsifier ratios, droplet size. Then the flavor may change, the stability may change, the effect may change. And I was at Johns Hopkins last week to help the researcher there to perform impairment studies of cannabis-infused beverage, because we all believe cannabis beverage could be reshaping the culture, right? But we also need to understand the safety and how we advocate to consumers, which formulation, how many milligram is safe for you to consume before you drive. So we're very proud to join the project in Johns Hopkins. But essentially, I realized the balancing between innovation and regulation, right? Now, cannabis beverage, you may already hear in each state, legalized states, they have metric system, legal dispensaries, but also there is a big trend happening now in the hemp denied space. So hemp is nationally legalized by Farm Bill, right? But that is mostly THC, CBD, not psychoactive. So the definition of hemp is below 0.3% of THC from the plant. But it's a low amount of THC, but you have THC in there. So what people do is after get rid of the CBD, you accumulate that mother liquor. That's the waste of that THC. You enrich the amount of THC, and you can get psychoactive THC from hemp. So now from Minnesota State, who legalized low-dose hemp psychoactive low-dose beverages. And we have seen a huge trend right now going through, my slides didn't work, but I already go for the content. So we already see a trend that Minnesota residents start to pick up low-dose cannabis beverages. And I would love to see even a CBS do a 60 minutes interview on just in the Minnesota states. What happened after cannabis low-dose beverage become legal, right? A state that where people love their alcohol because of the cold weather, how people shift their consumption habits, any crime rate, driving accidents. I love to see, because at Vertosa and our clients, we all believe cannabis heals, right? Heals people, not only our body, but our mental space. And like what Susie just said, I believe we have too much technology, but too little happiness, too much data, but too little wisdom. I think that's why me being an emotion chemist, I come into the industry to wanting to deliver healing from the cannabis plant to consumers. So again, we talk, this whole show talk about, different ingredients, sensory, but for us, is really the effect, right? So what we advocate to our clients is what kind of effect you want a beverage to deliver to your consumers. For example, they have, right now, if you go to a comedy club, you may have 2 drinks minimum for alcohol. My dream is to have 2 cannabis drinks, specially formulated to be a little giggly, right? So you have this, you have fun, but you may not remember what joke you heard, but you laugh your ass off. That's my goal, right? So design a beverage to fit a scenario, like going to a spa, going to watching a horror movie in AMC theaters, going for a long distance flight, right? So cannabinoids, CBN, CBC, CBG, THC, they can all be mashed, or customized into a ratio that fit that potential effect. So we often say to our clients, go for the effect first, and let Vertosa help you with a flavor house, help you together to deliver the sensory. And the last thing I want to mention is because cannabis still, before legalization, we still have to face the challenge of production, supply chain segmented. There's no interstate commerce. So for us we are based in California and Canada, but for us to supply our ingredients to other states, legal states, we have to customize our machine into Pelican cases, and we ship them to any locations in a partnership location. We send our technician, we send our inactive ingredients. We go there, we assemble the machine, under their hood, and then we produce our ingredients. That's the way how we tackle this current situation, right? If it's legalized, we better centralize it and ship it across state line, but we can't do that. So there are many challenges associated with not being a legal compound now. Still Schedule 1, hopefully can get to Schedule 3 next year. But knowing your market's legal landscape is really important. I just explained the difference between hemp and cannabis. And cannabis is state by state. Hemp is national legalized, but it's less than 0.3% THC. But now people are leveraging the hemp law to say, okay, if the THC is from the hemp, it should be legal. So that's why you see psychoactive, low-dose hemp beverages start to emerge in the market. Don't rely purely on what suppliers tell you. So don't trust my word completely, right? Go through the COA. We help our, even the alcohol distributors starts to look into the space. We help them to know what kind of documentation, what kind of chain of command they need to prove the authenticity of the hemp origin. Focus on consumer safety and self-policing. So in the regular THC market, every batch needs to be tested. We call is extremely tested, over-tested. But in the hemp market, because there's less regulation here, so the testing is less. So we often advocate our clients don't reduce the test cost, right? Do the test, have the COA, so the distributors and consumer have the confidence. Any questions? Thank you. Appreciate it.
Do we have any questions from the audience? No? All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming. We appreciate it, and have a great rest of your show. Yep, and we do have some drink samples from Center, and you're welcome to indulge.